Hello and welcome to Business Today TV. I am Chetan Bhutani. Maruti Suzuki has, of course, again come out with a stellar set of numbers, both quarterly and, of course, monthly numbers. And today I am joined by Shashank Srivastava, Senior Executive Director at Maruti Suzuki. Shashank-san, thank you so much for joining us. A little
Thank you.
falling short of the 2 lakh figure as far as the monthly sales go, sir. What happened? Why did we, in fact, lag for this 800, 700 numbers?
Yeah, actually, we were. We could have jumped to 200,000. Although that figure is a combination of our domestic passenger vehicle, domestic commercial vehicle, our OEM supply, and the export numbers. So really, it's a number which would have been great because it will be the first time ever that we were touched that number. But yes, we fell short by about 700-800. Nevertheless, for passenger vehicles and for the domestic sales, this was the highest ever monthly numbers for Maruti Suzuki. And I think that's also a very good sign.
Sir, actually, we're in the peak of the festive season, and are you optimistic that the 2 lakh number will be crossing in November?
Actually, it all depends on the first 15 days of the retail for November, because as you know, the festive season ends with the Bhai Dooj, which is on the 15th of November. So if we have a great retails in the first 15 days, then we will see good numbers going forward. However, one important thing which we must realize that these are wholesale numbers. And one of the reasons why October wholesale numbers continue to be so good is because of the expectation of good retails in the first 15 days of November. That is something which doesn't happen every month, because in the month of December, usually dealers would like to keep their stocks low because the change of the financial year, change of the calendar year model. And that is something which obviously goes against a very large wholesale in expectation of better retails.
Sure, sir. Also, sir, to a larger context, sir, numbers and all the sales numbers are fine, but currently the penetration of cars in India stands roughly about 30 to 32 cars for every 1,000 people. Sir, what scope in the future are you seeing for cars going further, and how much would it comprise for EVs and CNG vis-a-vis ICE fuel vehicles?
Yeah, so I think the penetration is generally expected for a growing economy like India. The penetration of cars would increase, and that's the upside that makes all the OEMs so positive and bullish about the Indian market. The scope is very high, especially growing economy, and the GDP per capita is expected to also grow up to almost $4,000 in 2030 from the current levels of just under 3,000. So it's GDP growth per capita has a very high correlation with the overall auto industry numbers. And that is why the expectation is that the industry will continue to grow as the penetration of cars per 1,000 increases.
Sure, sir. And also, sir, I was looking at the second quarter numbers, sir, a massive hike in 80% as far as the net profit goes, sir. What are you attributing this massive hike to, or do you think it's a 1 quarter, event, other next quarters won't see so much hike?
No, so first of all, of course, the volumes went up because the semiconductor supply issues eased out a little bit. And that is the reason why the second quarter numbers were very good. Secondly, the mix of the models also changed because we had pending bookings, a large pending bookings in some of our models where we could not supply earlier, like the Ertiga, the XL6, the Vitara, the Brezza, the Desire, the Fronx, and so on. So the mix also was a big factor for that increased profitability. And third factor obviously was the supply, the softening in terms of the commodity and the material cost, and all these factors combined to help in our overall numbers as far as profits is concerned for Q2.
Sir, how are you anticipating the commodity prices going further? Because clearly all of the things are working in your favor, be it commodity prices, be it the demand, be it the raw material cost. Things are working in the automobile for the automobile companies. But in the near future, as we expect some of the geopolitical tensions to rise, or probably other factors, but do you think these prices would be stable and not be increasing or decreasing?
Yeah, so you have raised a very pertinent point because for any auto OEM, the material cost is about 75 to 77% of the overall cost structure. So obviously, material cost that depends largely on commodity prices is very important for the overall cost structure. And any changes there has a large impact on both the profits and the cost structure of auto OEMs. Last few quarters, we have seen a softening of commodity prices, especially if you see copper or even aluminium, and also the rare metals. There was a softening. The steel prices going a little bit up and down. But I think the expectation is that this level of commodity prices would continue. Obviously, there are unknown factors, as you rightly pointed out, and that could, change the equations. But at the moment, we are looking at a similar sort of commodity prices as we have seen in the recent past.
Sure, sir. And also, if I may come to the CNG models, sir, I was just going through the numbers. 13 CNG models from Maruti Suzuki stable, about 1.18 lakh of sales from July to September, and subsequently going forward. What future are we seeing for CNG at your end, sir?
So CNG for Maruti Suzuki, almost 25% of our sale is CNG, and that's very good because it's been increasing in the last few years. October we did almost like 53,000 CNG vehicles, so that's a very high rate of CNG vehicle production and dispatches. This year we are looking at somewhere between 475,000 to 500,000 of CNG vehicles. Overall, in the industry, the CNG penetration has gone up to almost 15%. That compares quite favorably with the diesel, for example, which has been coming down. Diesel percentage is roughly 17%. So as long as these fuel prices, gasoline and diesel continues to be high, the running cost advantage for CNG should ensure that there would be a good push for CNG vehicles. In fact, in the previous question, you also asked about going forward, what would be the penetration in CNG. We have said that by 2030, 15% will be EV for Maruti Suzuki, 25% will be the hybrids, and balance 60 will be a mix of flex fuel, CNG, biogas, and gasoline.
Right. Also, sir, very interesting trend that Brezza, Grand Vitara, Ertiga, XL6, all utility vehicles and SUVs at your end have seen a massive 91% rise. Sir, what is the trend saying, sir? Is the SUV and UV sector set to rule Indian markets?
Yeah, so if you look at the increase in the contribution of the SUV, MUV sector has been pretty high. In fact, in October, it was almost 59, crossed the 59% mark, with SUVs crossing the 50%. That compares very well with the 42, 43% that you saw the SUVs last year, and about 7-8% for the MPVs. So the trend has been there for the last 3-4 years, actually. And much of the growth that you see in the industry today is largely fueled by growth in the SUV and the MPV sector. The other sectors, sedan, vans, hatches, have actually declined.
Sir, also coming back to the same point, there's been a further decline when it comes to the sale of Alto and Espresso from 24,936 to 14,000. We're seeing a huge decline, sir. Is it a cause of concern right now? Is Maruti Suzuki looking to, rework on their strategy as far as small cars go?
No. Actually, as I explained last time also, this difference in number is explained by the deletion of the Alto 800 numbers. Alto 800 is no longer in production. And that explains the difference. We used to do about 11,000-12,000 numbers a month. And slowly, as the Alto K10 acceptance increases, we would try to recover these numbers of Alto 800 through the Alto K10, although there is a substantial price difference and gap between the two.
But sir, do you believe that in times to come, there could be a possible rebound for small cars in India?
Actually, we feel that there could be a bounce back, because if you see the last 3-4 years, the drop in the hatch numbers have actually been because the affordability factor has come down. And affordability factor is two parts. One is the price of the vehicle itself and the income levels. So the income levels in this category hasn't gone up in proportion to the increase in prices. And those prices have gone up in response to the government regulations and the stringency of norms, as also the commodity prices that we discussed earlier in the program. And we believe that in a growing economy like India, once the income levels are for these category of people on the lower end of the spectrum also grows, the affordability factor can only get better from what it is today. In which case, you can see a bounce back in this segment. Given the fact that 65% of our population demographically less than 35 years of age, 45 to 47% of the vehicle sale is a first time buyer, and therefore I believe it is on a macro parameter level, there's a possible bounce back in this segment.
Sure, sir. And as far as the Japan Mobility Show goes, sir, we saw a Swift's version that might be coming to India, sir. Could you give us some details if India plan is on?
As you know, we keep upgrading products and also introducing new products, and we will continue to be aggressive in this respect as we have been in the all these years. In fact, Maruti Suzuki is the largest portfolio of vehicles, largely because of that. In fact, last 1 year, we have introduced 4 new products. So we'll continue to work in that direction. As to the exact timelines for the Swift or any other product, is difficult for me to give you a guideline for the future in terms of product.
Sir, we also saw a Wagonr's CBG version, sir. CBG is still a long journey in India, but is there a CBG or a ethanol version planned at Wagonr's end for India? Are you thinking about it?
So we have mentioned that we will be producing. We are in the process of having vehicles which would run on CBG. So which models and when is something which we are still discussing. So at this moment, I have no other update to give except that we have invested. Suzuki has invested in production of CBG also, so as to power the vehicles, some of the models which we will be introducing later.
All right, Shashank sir, thank you so much for this exhaustive discussion. Wishing you all the best for the festive season. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chetan.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.